about to receive the third Chilean cherry season under the pandemic. Chilean cherry business is equally important to Chinese importers as to Chilean exporters and growers. Why? Because of the money being put into the game. Consignment has never been an easy game to play. In the past years, we only see growth, not only volume, but also the market price. Chinese consumers seem like will never get bored with Chilean cherries until the pandemic came. In January 23rd of 2020, it was just a day before the Chinese New Year's Eve. Chinese government announced the lockdown of the city Wuhan, a city with over 10 million population. Although other places were not locked down, but due to strict prevention regulations nationwide, provincial logistics were affected, and many retail channels closed as it was in the holiday. Some even not able to open after the holiday due to employees not able to return or problems with the supply chain. Chinese people rushed to stores which were still open to buy essential goods, rice, instant noodles, water, vegetables, but not fruits. Not even mentioning cherries. That was the least important item. So the season 19 to 20 came with a totally different results before and after the Chinese New Year. It was force majeure. We entered the pandemic with no preparation. But luckily, 70% of the Chilean cherries were sold before the pandemic. Then came the next season. We thought we were prepared this time. But the reality was that the industry can't withstand a single blow by the virus. What takes was only a news, or like the Chilean side insists to call, the fake news. Coincidentally, it almost happened the same time of previous year, 22nd of January. But in 2021, we had a late Chinese New Year, which was on the 12th of February. Almost half of the volume hadn't been sold before the fake news happened. But people choose to play safe. It's better to eat something else. And the cherry was deleted from the gift list immediately. It can only disgrace someone when he gives cherry to others. It's no longer a decent gift. Later, the sales can only rely on low price, driven all by own consumption. But talk to comfort, all the cherries were still sold, not dumped, and the low price has enabled many people to try for their first time. So let's just consider it as a big promotion. You just advanced some budget from later seasons. But I still would like to complain as a consumer, the cherry in the last season didn't taste as good as before. It didn't taste has the flavor to keep me to eat one after another. Maybe it's not the problem with the cherry, it's the problem of myself. I might have become a more sophisticated consumer as I always have free cherries to eat. But it's just dangerous if more and more Chinese people feel the same. There are many lessons we can learn from last season. It looks like being ruined by a fake news, but we all know it's not the only reason, or even not a major one. We should review our own job, what we didn't do well, instead of pointing fingers in others, because finally, the success relies on everybody in the whole industry. When the pandemic just happened, we thought it was only for 2 weeks, then 2 months. With the Delta variant torturing the world, no one will doubt it will be 2 years or even longer. The pandemic is like World War III. Who can successfully contain it will be the winner. But to contain it, one must pay big price. Many countries have tried not to pay that cost and end up paying much higher. Many measurements those China had a talk from the beginning were criticized, but it turned out to be the only right way. Some measurements may be overreacting, like closing a port for a month just because of one positive case. Although even under these extreme measurements, positive case still be found in China here or there. China will never give up to fight for zero clearing. So for the coming season, The biggest challenge for Chilean cherry is still the virus. It's how you can really prevent it during the packing and transportation, and how the shipments will be affected by the preventative measurements when it comes to China. One thing is for sure that China will continue the preventative disinfection policy for all cold chain products, which means the products will be all pulled out from the reefer container to be disinfected by spraying. By policy, the pellets must be broken and all the 6 sides of each package should be sprayed. But in practice, for fruits, it's mostly done by pellets if pellets are used. The disinfection should be done by qualified third party in approved locations. Furthermore, there remain a small percentage of shipments to be disinfected under customs supervision. Due to limited capacity, the disinfection under customs supervision will be rather slow. It will either 1 day or more, or even up to 2 weeks according to past experience. This uncertainty will affect more those small importers or exporters who don't have many shipments to adjust their logistic or sales plan. The channels through Hong Kong could be the most efficient one, but once it's jammed or affected by the shortage of Hong Kong drivers, the efficiency will be badly affected. I suggest to diversify the Cherry Express, some vessels should be arranged to other mainland Chinese ports. First call, not second call, or by feather. Because the uncertainty of the pandemic, there is no perfect choice or plan. What we need is to separate the risk and always prepare with a plan B. In terms of marketing, the key task this season is to build the consumer confidence. One good news is that Chinese consumers seem like have developed an antibody to fake news. Recently, a similar incident occurred to durian from Thailand. The news headline reads, "Durian positive." However, the impact seemed to be very limited. The price in the wholesale market declined, but the range is not large. Later, due to disinfection in the packing house cut off some supply, the price has picked up quickly. We should be cautiously optimistic about this. After all, the heat of cherry itself is much higher than that of durian. There will be more attention on the cherries. So a foreplan on how to cope with this kind of risk of fake news must be prepared. The react must be immediate. That will be a big challenge for the Cherry Committee to come up with a plan. And I'm always free to contribute my thoughts and ideas. My friends in other business are always surprised to hear how the Chilean cherry business is conducted. No fixed price, no letter of credit, even no contract. The business is based on trust. Yes, on trust. And this year, we need to rely even more on trust. Last thing I would like to bring out for discussion is that we rely almost 100% on the wholesale market to form the market price in China. But this kind of mechanism has made it difficult for retail channels to make promotion plans in advance, or importers have to bet for a future price. How can we find another way?